Yo, what's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. I think this is about done. Hope everyone is having a great Friday. A little slow at the start of this stream, but it's all good. Hope you had a good week. I had a pretty good one. It's just juggling a lot of things. Today the stream's going to be pretty low key. Just going to be sipping on some coffee and working on a prototype. So let me track down that project, get this open. We'll get it started. Huge fan of this song. All right. So, what we're doing today. Let's actually raise this up a little bit. Drop this down. There we go. All right. So, if you're joining me for the first time, Fika is a Swedish term that means coffee or to get coffee, and it's really a chance to take a break from your day, to go hang out with some friends or some colleagues and just chill out, disconnect for a little bit before you go back and go wrap up the rest of your day. So that's what I'm doing today. Just an opportunity to come hang out with me, come learn a little something about design, see how a product designer works if you're exploring the field. And yeah, it's just a chance to hang out. As always, I'm open for any questions that you might have. So if you're curious about anything, feel free to let me know in the chat. Happy to talk about any aspect of what I do as a UX product designer. And you know, what I'm working on as well. So feel free to ask. I would love to chat. And yeah. Other than that, I'm just going to be working on a couple of things. In addition, a lot of these streams, if you're familiar with it, I'm working on a couple of different things. The main one is I'm working on a calendar / to-do list app with a couple of friends. And so that's just something that we're working on in public, and that's something that I'm working on in stream. So we have a project name called Dawn. Not sure exactly what we're going to call it just yet. So I'm working on Dawn today, probably for the majority of the stream, particularly around understanding or building a prototype for understanding and for learning. So particularly, we got this challenge that we're working through with Dawn, where we're trying to understand how people would put together the interface, or how people would build their own interface. So to give you a little context, the idea behind Dawn is that it's a calendar or to-do list or kind of agenda app, or I guess scheduler is another way that you could put it. And the idea is that you're able to treat every piece of the interface like a widget. And so you can add widgets and remove them, customize them, and move them around. But we're a little stuck on what we're going to do about how people build those interfaces, how they interact with those widgets, what kind of widget types there are. And so what we're going to be working on today is putting together a widget or an interface to prototype what it would look like to build that, so that we can test this out with some customers and see what this would actually look like and kind of test some assumptions. So that's what we're doing today for the majority of the hour. But you know, did everyone sign an NDA in here? Yep, everyone was required in the terms when they joined. All right, so let me get this open. We'll kind of jam on this. I think what I'm going to do for our chunk of this is just work on different widgets, just to make sure that we're using auto layout, that things are modular. We're doing this in Figma, and so I think it'd be really helpful to make sure that everything is functioning properly, so we can kind of use those modularly. My artboard is chaos right now, so let's go ahead and jump into that. All right. So let me grab one of these interfaces here, and we'll just kind of work through this. So I'm going to go through and just clean up some of these widgets, make sure that these are functioning properly. I believe these are. I'm not too sure. So we'll drag this out. All right, mini calendars seems to be working. I think I did that last time. All right, so that's good. Let's see this event list thing. Partially. All right, let's see what we could do to fix this. These are adapting, these aren't. All right, those should be fixed. So we got that widget, the mini cal's working. think we have to move over the search one. I do recall. Yeah, we got to get rid of that one. So what we're trying to do with this calendar is think about each of these as individual widgets. And so that provides a unique design challenge in that things have to kind of have their own distinct space. So for something like this is a week view, but it also contains the search. And so if we're going to do it that way, that search has to apply to these events, or we have to have something that's separate. So we probably need to separate that out, at least for now, and then think about how we might want to merge those back together. And so I think probably the best way is to get rid of that search for now, and then kind of figure out what we do with that after that. And I think this is functioning otherwise pretty well. Not quite. All right, let's see. There's a few other widgets that I wanted to build as well. Yeah, so let's work on a couple of additional widgets, something that we can move around, so that we're not like duplicating these two like side widgets as well. So I think what we're gonna do is let's do like a little progress widget. So got 280 for the width. Seems like a good number. Oof. I'm gonna have to do like a couple of hours of cleanup off stream. Keep your files clean, kids. Alright, so this is going to be widgets. Let's do like a progress tracker. It's something that I've really enjoyed in a system that I'm using called Obsidian. I figured out a way to do progress based off of projects that I'm working on. And so I'd like to have that something here as well. So we're going to go ahead and create a component off of that. And I'm using a design system here, so I'm seeing if we could leverage some of the stuff that's already been made. Excellent. All right, let's grab, oh, these ones have percentages. Percentages, and we got fractions. Percentages look cool. Let's grab some of these. See, Brian says, search is an interesting idea to think through because would every widget have its own search? Can you design a calendar widget? We could really use that one since it's not in the design system. Yeah, design a calendar widget. Well, I think what we could do is pull over the ones that I already built here. I gotta pull these into the other files. Okay, we'll do the progress tracker, and then I'll go on to cleaning up the calendar widget, because I have a full-size calendar here, and I believe that's functioning. Well, let's not get distracted. Let's work on this first. At least knock out a little widget here, and then we'll get on to the other stuff. And then I'll do the calendar one because I feel like that's the most important. Because what is a calendar app without a calendar? Just gonna toss this in there. I don't know, I'm keep fiddling with that just because this is gonna be on auto layout anyway, so we're just gonna get all these things in here. And then we're gonna set this to auto layout, spacing between them. We'll do 24, probably. So we probably need a name on top of these. And then, let's see, let's do some spacing as well. Inside here, let's go fill container as well, and then this is supposed to be 280. Beautiful. These components are already adaptable, or at least auto layout, so that's super nice. Okay, so let's add some project titles to these. Take these, frame them, auto layout, vertical. Let's go 8 pixels. All right. What's some cool project names that we could do? Book, travel. Oh, plan, Italy. Trip. That's something I'm doing right now. Let's see. Is this a progress? Progress bar. Okay, cool. They have percentages here. Percent. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. So I think what we'll do is we'll delete all these. Just take this one that we have here. So we probably want more space in between that header and these. You know what, let's actually hold off on that. Let's see. Design, new website. That's something I gotta do. Let's see. Italy trip. Actually pretty close on finishing that. Design new website. I am not very finished on that. Landscape or plant garden for fall. Planted zucchini. Oh snap, you're going to Italy? That's crazy. I have to go to some dumb wedding. It's lame. All right, this looks good. We want to increase the spacing, or we want to keep that spacing for the header, and we don't want to keep it for these. So let's group these, auto layout, and then let's reduce the height to, 16. It's not really progress tracker, it's a project tracker. So we kind of turned it into a project tracker. Okay, cool. It's a cool little widget. There's probably little details I don't want to add, like you know, add new, probably do like a triple dot menu. Usually let's do the triple dots. Just because I know probably want to account for that. Let's see. If I was an icon, okay, here we go. Boom, triple dots, more vertical. All right, going back to widgets. So let's paste it in here. We're going to take these two things, group them, auto layout, horizontal, and we're going to go center align, space between, and we're going to say this is fill content. Fantastic. Okay, cool. We got a widget, I think. Nope, almost. When you group things together, you have to also set that to fill container. Close, closer. And then each one of these have to also be fill container. Okay. I wish when you framed two things that are set to fill container, that when you group them, it also inherited that. I wish it didn't do that instead of defaulting to hug every time. Oh my gosh. All right, we're so close. We're gonna go each of these individual things. Now these fill container. Okay, here we go. It's okay, I've never designed an interface before. Don't worry, guys. Phil. I mean, I understand why they did it. I mean, it's just defaulting to something, but it's one of those things that we can have a sensible default for doing something a little bit better. If you're like, Josh, I've never heard that term before, sensible defaults, what is that? Well, you're just gonna have to wait for my video on it because it's in the works. Beautiful. Alrighty, widget done. Yeah, Figma does some weird stuff when it changes between those flexible widths and heights to fix. Yeah, I totally understand why they do it, because if you take a widget or if you take a component that you have it set to fill the width or fill the container and then you drag it outside of it, if it was set to that, it would fill up the entire canvas and it'd be like 300 pixel or 300,000 pixels wide or something like that. So I understand why it does it fixed. But yeah, then you don't realize that it did that even with that little notification that it gives you. And then you don't understand why things broke for no reason whatsoever. Yeah, that constantly throws me off. Okay, cool. Project tracker widget. That one's done. It's looking good enough for a prototype. So that's all that really matters right now. All right. Let's do this calendar widget. So one way that we've been thinking about this is the possibility of there being small widgets and large widgets, which would have different properties to them. Something like a small widget, like, well, this is a great example. Something like a small widget, if this spans an entire screen width, it isn't super useful. It's more taking up space than it is providing value. And that space that could be used up for other things. Same thing with a mini calendar, for example. If we make this super large, right, this doesn't provide a whole lot more value. And so the idea is that we want to create some kind of rules to help developers and to help designers understand the limitations of some of these things and pick the right widget for the job. And so kind of approaching it in that strategy, and that's really what we're kind of trying to test with the prototype. Would users get that if we kind of set some of those rules up? So we're just trying to create just a good mashup of like different widgets that we can use to kind of prototype some of these things. I've also been exploring the new prototyper tool done by the Diagram team that can take Figma files and turn them into workable prototypes. What really caught my eye is that they can do drag and drop stuff, which is everything that we want to test with this prototype. So the goal is to design this to a point where widgets are good enough that we can pull this into prototyper and we can write a little bit of code to test out drag and drop to see how that feels. So stay tuned. I'm going to see if I can explore prototyper on stream as best as I can. I might need Brian's help for some of that JavaScript coding. Well, let's test this out. I think I've set this up to do a little bit of prototyping as well. All right, so I see some prototype links. Let's see. Okay, seems to be working. Let's test this out. Okay. Got some growing and shrinking here. I see that event is like, see that? Somehow the math is broken on that one. Okay, let's see if I could just show this on prototype. Prototype needs to have at least one frame. Okay. So this one is using that calendar widget. Let's see if we can play it from here. Okay. Here, I'll zoom in for... Okay, let's see. So we got month. And we got week. All right, so there's a couple of things that I want to fix on this. I want this to scroll for the week view. I want to create an event for some of these days. Actually, what I want to do is turn this into a each day into a component that has the option to toggle how many events you want on it. So I'll do that as well. I want to fix this this alignment thing because I feel like I grouped this wrong. It could be a bug. I'm not too sure. And then I want to do a day view as well. So once I have all those components together, then it should be really easy to style all those. All right, so let's do that. First mess around with this week view. Let's see if we can fix this. Interesting. All right, so let's detach this and let's mess around with this one. Explore this for a little bit. All right, this is a sit-up type of problem. So I have my day row. All right, I have my day column. Each day has a, let's see, we have a header. We have the all day block, and then we have hour blocks. That's how I structure that. So then how is this? All right, so this is using the new Figma component. You can see up here in the top right-hand corner, this is a new thing that was just released from the new Figma conference. It was announced at the Figma conference, but this is new absolute positioning. So it is positioning absolutely based off of its parent container, which it looks like is the day block. So there's our problem. We just figured out. So if this is positioning absolutely from this entire column here, then it's trying to do it as a percentage of this entire thing. But when these two things are fixed, it's obviously going to be out of alignment. So here's our fix. What we're going to do is, instead of the day header and this hour block, which is the all day block, we're going to take these, including that. Now we're going to group this. So now we're going to frame all of these. So now this will be absolutely positioned off of this frame, which should be hours. And then this should be set to auto layout. And we're going to go hug contents. Fill. Wait. I don't think I did this right. Auto layout. Okay, here we go. Hug contents and hug contents. Curious to see how you see a widget like this working at a smaller size. Yeah, that's a good question. We'll have to kind of explore that after we get through something like this. How I would do it at a smaller size, it would have to be something like, in the same way, like if we go back over to the mini calendar, there are mini calendars which show dots to represent events where you obviously can't do it in the space allotted. And so I would imagine I would want to do something similar, but in a week view. And so I would imagine it'd be something like per hour, it would say like number of events, where you can actually see the events, but you could see that there's like a number of events either represented through dots or just like through text. So I think that's how I would explore something like that if this was going to be smaller. So I'm curious why it's doing this, because I have it set to auto layout and its parent one is going fill with fill height, but then the header is fill with fixed height. The all day block is fill with fixed height. But now this frame won't let me do fill for some reason. If it was a 1/3 column. Yeah. That's true as well. One thing at a time though. I'm trying to figure out why this is not allowing me to fill. Is it because all of the other ones are, all of its children are fixed? Let's see. Fill container. Fixed height. I don't know why it's doing this. Ungroup. This is weird. I'm not exactly sure why it's doing this. All right, let's do this outside of here because I... Okay. So we've fixed and fixed. And then inside here, hug contents, hug contents. This is so weird. Does anyone who know Figma understand why I'm seeing this? Oh, it's because all of these are absolutely positioned. Wait, how did that happen? Oh, that's weird. Okay. Okay. Fill container. See, this is exactly what we're talking about. Figma just does weird stuff sometimes. It's not exactly clear why it's doing that. Okay, so we set this to fill. Can we set this to fill? Why I want to set it to fill? It's because this is absolutely positioned. Oh, that's silly. I don't know how all of that got it magically set to auto position or absolute position. Ridiculous. Okay, figured it out. Back in here. So this frame somehow got absolute positioned. We're gonna set this to fill container, because it obviously can't fill a container, which is also interesting choice design-wise, because absolutely positioned things can fill the entire container. So So now this is absolutely positioned. Let's say this is at 2 p.m. Oh, and this component was built before you had the automatic text truncation feature in Figma, so I can rebuild this. So I'm not going to fiddle too hard with layout stuff. But I want that to stick to there. We'll stick that. Okay. Let's see now. Oh. It's fixed height now. Fill. Okay. This is fixed. That's fixed. This is auto layout. Fill. Okay, the container itself is filling, but the individual day blocks are set to fixed height. So we want these to be percentages. Fill container. Fantastic. Look at that. Alrighty. So that is working as intended. Now there's a couple of different ways that we could do this. Right now I have these hours scaling up and down, but if you think about like how a lot of calendar apps work, is these columns, you can zoom in and out, or you can resize those hour blocks to whatever size that you want. And then you can scroll within that window. So I think I'll do that as well, because that's a pretty typical thing. Something that we're trying to work through as well is, can you scroll within components? And so just having a version where we're scrolling within the component is also very useful. So that's something we're gonna do right now. Quick question, how is the volume of my voice compared to the music? Is the music too loud? Good, sweet. All right, so I fixed this one, and I gotta fix the rest of the columns. I think I wanna probably turn this into a, I could turn those into subcomponents, but then I couldn't just add events wherever I want. I think I gotta do it manually. Okay, I'll just leave it as is. So now that we've tested it over here, I can do it actually within the widget. So let's go ahead and do this. All right. So let's take all of our hour blocks and the calendar event, put that in a new frame. See, this, okay, this is where it screwed me up. For some reason, when I group them, it defaults to absolutely positioned. That's where it screwed me up. Why would you default to that? Figma team, watch my video on sensible defaults. coming to a YouTube channel near you. Okay. Jesus. See, that wasted like a good chunk of my time because it wasn't clear that that's what it was doing by default for some reason. All right, so go to day header, all day block. Now this is hour blocks. And broke it already. So now we're just going to apply all of the things that we learned in our test. So it's going to be fill container for both the width and the height. We're going to move the calendar event down to the bottom, so it's on top of, oh, not that far, down to the bottom, so it's on top of everything. We're going to go back to changing that to absolutely positioned, and it should be over 2 o'clock. We're going to go 2 to 4. Okay, see each of the hour blocks. We're now going to change this to fill container and fill container. Brilliant. Okay. Let's do that to the rest of these as well. This will be a little easier. I think it won't inherit the absolute positioning this time. See, it didn't. So annoying. Hours block, all day block. We're gonna go fill, auto layout, down. And these individual blocks. Cool. We're still set to fill and fill. Excellent. Okay, let's do it again. So group, auto layout, fill, done. Group, fill, auto layout. Let's see. Group that, auto layout, fill. Frame, auto layout, fill. When I say group, I always mean frame. I honestly don't know what you would do with a group that you wouldn't do with a frame. I honestly think they should just get rid of it. Okay, let's make sure this works. Drag it out, let's mess with it. Oh. partially right. Okay, so Tuesday and then Thursday through Saturday. Fill, and then the individual ones are fixed for some reason. Fill. Okay, so that fixed one. See, how did some of these get broken and some of these didn't? Some of these defaults just don't make any sense. All right. Beautiful. You know, while we're at it, let's go into this calendar event. And let's do this new truncation thing. So we're going to take this block. So this is a new feature that Figma added. It's super cool. So what we're going to do is, so we got these set to fill. There's a new text truncation feature where I think what we actually want to do is fill container vertically on this one. And then we go into this triple dots here and you see resizing. We see now a truncate text feature here. So this is cool. So when you take something like this, you go something like that. Damn, look at that. Actually, I've never noticed that as well. Just like, because when you have that feature turned on, then it just gets rid of the entire line. So even these other ones that are one-liners, might want to do that there. Interesting. Well, I guess. Okay, we'll just, we'll leave it as it is. All right, so let's make sure it's done in this variant as well. So let's go fill container on that, and then let's go truncate text setting on that as well. Let's just test it out real quick. What? Okay, there's something else broken in here. What am I grabbing? We got drive time. This is fill and fixed. Interesting. Might have to fix that. So we got drive time. We got event. So this is another feature. I guess I should talk about this for a second. So this is another feature that we're kind of exploring, just like how many times have you had an event on your calendar, but you haven't factored in how long it takes you to get from one place to another, because a lot of events have locations. At least they did before COVID. But a lot of events have locations, kind of in your day-to-day if you're running errands. And so this takes into account driving time, or at least an idea for a feature that would account for driving time as well. So yeah, that's what this feature is. It's pretty cool. So what we're gonna do is, this should not be, let's take this event block, and right now it's fixed. Let's go fill container. Let's actually go fill container with this one as well. Can you fill container as a percentage? I don't think you can. I think they both fight over it. You can. This is where it's limited versus like Flexbox. So I think what we're gonna do instead is just have that one fixed, have this one flex, and then we'll just kind of fake it. All right, that's what we want. Okay, cool. So let's take that and let's take those fixes and apply them. So this one's called event. And the event block, we're going to set that to fill, and we have this, make sure that this is set to truncate text. Fantastic. Delete the one that had all the overrides. Try it again. Brilliant. All right. Good enough. And then which one is this one? This is just one that I created. This is an all-day event. So let's just, while we're here, let's just create this as the variant as well. So let's go, let's take this one, duplicate that, set it to the bottom. And because it's an all-day event, we can turn off time and, you know, we can still truncate location. All-day events have locations. And let's just set it, instead of fill height, to fixed height. Oh wait, no, not that. That's the interior. We're gonna call this travel time. No, but the property is, let's add a new add a new variant here. Variant property. Let's go, let's do it as a Boolean. Actually, no. Let's do this. Let's go type. We're going to call this all day. All right. So now travel time type all day. So this is type timed. Or we'll just call this time block. This is also a time block. And then this one is all day. This one will be fixed height. And let's go, what's the height of this one? 23, good enough. Let's go 24. Fantastic. In fact, let's get rid of the, no, let's leave location on there. Okay, cool. It's good enough for now. Then we got these. All right. We're making progress. All right, so I believe this is working properly. All right, so new thing that I want to do. I think what we could do for faking this prototype is so right now this is a 2-hour event. So what I want to do is try to make it modular, that I could like click on this block, this hour block, and I can add an event. The problem is that by faking it that way, we could only have events less than an hour. I guess we couldn't. I guess that could be a fun experiment. Because if this is fixed absolutely, or if this is positioned absolutely, if it's positioned based off of the hour block, and so if it was 200% of the height of the hour block, then yes, you could fake a 2-hour event associated with the block above. Ooh, that's gonna be some fun Figma hacking. Let's do that. All right. Let's see. So let's do this again. So I know I have these hour blocks here. So let's actually mess around with these hour blocks here. So if I take an hour block and I grab an event, can't put it on until I detach it, obviously. Okay. Okay, if I set this to auto layout. Now let's just do it, absolutely. So I guess this, okay, the hour block has to be absolutely positioned, or it has to be an auto layout, and then I gotta absolutely position it within the auto layout. Okay, so if I do this, and then I take this one, and I set it to auto layout, or I set it to absolutely positioned, then we could do this, absolutely positioned, and then what we could do is, then we go constraints. We'll go left and right, top and bottom. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking. All right, so this would be an hour block with an hour. And then we could do the same. And so this could be height divided by 2. It's a fun little trick. If you don't know this about Figma, each of these inputs, you can do simple equations in them. So what you just saw me do is, in something like this, I could take this, this event. You see the height is 112. I could do /2, so divided by 2, and now it gives me half of that height. So you could do math equations that in all of these inputs. It works for basically any input with a number. Super helpful little trick. Highly recommend it. All right, so this is a half-hour block. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. So we got hour, half hour. Let's do quarter, or 15 minutes. So let's divide in half again. Not super thrilled about that. Can I do the truncation and then it'll just hide it? I bet I can. Let's see. Does that work like that? No, it doesn't. That's unfortunate. You know, in the real thing, it wouldn't show like that little bit of text there, but that's fine. It's good enough. All right, and then, well, let's try a 2-hour event. Okay, so this would be, let's actually grab this one. Let's grab the hour-long one. And now, let's say its height is ×2. Okay. Calendar event. Oh, did I do that wrong? Ah, I grabbed the event, not the entire hour block. Okay, try that again. Now the calendar event, we want to go ×2 within its hour block. Okay, so the hour block is this height. Calendar event is that height. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Oh, hell yeah. Sweet. Okay. So that's some Figma hackery for you. So let's do that. In fact, we could probably get rid of that event now. So now we've created, what are these two things? We got hour block. We have default and all day. So the all day one, default one. The only difference on these is you look really closely, it's based off of the borders. A border that I have to fix. But prototyping, we don't have to worry about that stuff right now. So let's see what that would look like. So now we want to do, that's an all day block. Let's just move that up. Ah, it's because this is an auto layout. This is a nice little thing I like to add. This is actually a really nice feature, that the actual grouping of component variants, you can apply auto layout to them too. They work kind of like a weird frame with special rules. And so you can change these to auto layout as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I like doing that for all of these. It just makes it look really clean. So I like to do like 16. I use my standard spacing. That way, now my all day one can move up to the top and I can just reorder these super clean. I don't know why it's not done like that by default. Again, Figma team. Sensible defaults. But it's okay. So we're going to take our lessons learned from here, which are, let's see. Okay, so we had to make this one auto layout so that this one could be absolutely positioned within it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to auto layout that. I'm going to drag the event into it. And this is actually going to save me a ton of time, because once I actually figure out like spacing for the edges of the event to the edges of a hour, that's going to be very convenient. In fact, that's what I could do right here. Beautiful. Okay. So the hour, we're going to go fixed. Or actually, no. For both of these, this is another little trick as well. So when you set auto layout to the variant grouping, you can now set width and height properties to these individual things. So now when you carry over that variant, it will carry over those properties. So for example, now that I have this set to auto layout, I can set this to fill container for both of these. Now when I use that component, it now has fill container apply to both of those as long as you drag it into another auto layout. So if I, for example, created a frame out here, not in there obviously, but if I created another frame right here and I set this to auto layout and I go fixed, but it still has auto layout applied. So now when I drag this into it, those things are applied. See, fill. So there you go. Another little Figma hack. All right, back to the task at hand though. So I want to set this. I can't do that until I absolutely position it. So we're gonna pop that down there, and we're gonna bop this down. Actually, I want to test something real quick. In Sketch, you had this option where you could grab something, and not only could you put in height and width, or like do math, but you could also do percentages. So if I did 100%, it would know what that means. Nah, it doesn't. Okay, Figma doesn't have that feature. That's a Sketch feature. Ignore me. Sketch used to have a thing where if you put something in an artboard and then you set that item to 100%, it would know that it's 100% of the parent artboard. Super useful feature if you drag something in there and you want it to be 50% of the artboard without having to look at the artboard. Height and width, you could just easily do that. Figma doesn't have that. Not yet. Figma team, just hire me. Seriously. All right. So we got this one. We're going to set this one to default. Let's see, what's the best way to do this? Probably should create a base component that has all of the events in the hour block, and then I can turn the features on and off, or I can turn the events on and off. So we're at an hour and 13 minutes. So I think that's going to be the last thing that I'm going to do for the stream. And then, you know, we'll pick up wherever we left off last. All right, so I'm going to teach a little bit about this thing called a base component. So this is a really great thing to do when you're creating design systems, because it will save you a ton of time. So how it works is that, so basically I want to do something like this. This is our end goal, is to create all of these different things. Now the problem is if I created these as individual components, say I wanted to change the border width on this hour block, like this gray here, if I want to change that. Now I have to do it in all of these components, and I would have to do it in that one. A different way to do that is to create what's known as a base component or a root component, and then that has all of the different attributes. And so then when I create these variants, they are variants of that base component. So let me show you what that looks like. So rather than creating the hour, half hour, 15 minute, 2 hour, what we're going to do is we're going to create a base component. So we're going to create a component here. I like to use the pattern of putting a dot in the beginning of the name, just so you know that, like, don't publish this kind of pattern. So we're going to call this base hour block. And we're going to grab the things that we have in here. This is 166 for some reason. I'm just going to go fixed for both of these, at least for now. Okay. So what you want to do is we're going to take that. We're going to have the hour block already on it. But now we're also going to add the half hour block and the quarter block and the 2 hour block all on top of it. All right, I know this looks confusing, but just hang with me for a second. So we're gonna go make sure that these are X, 0, Y, 1, I think. All right. And then we gotta name these. So this is hour. Let's go 1 hour event. This one is 30-minute event. This is a 15-minute event. And then this last one is a 2 hour event. And we're gonna put this all the way at the bottom. So 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute. Okay. So now, you know what? I'm just going to delete this base hour block. And we're just going to do it in this one. So let's just delete that. We're just going to turn this one into our component. So create component. I'm going to rename it to that base hour block. All right, cool. So now, check out this. I'm going to move these out of the way because we want to have our hour block, and then we want to have our base hour block over here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is for this one, we're going to add this here. Why did that shrink? Fixed? Fixed at 1 pixel height? Weird. All right, and so now this type is going to be hour block. This is the new hour block. So this is going to be a type. And so the other variant that we want to add here is we're going to go event, and this first one is going to be 15 minutes. All right, we're gonna have to move these things. We need some room to grow here. All right, so there's event, and this one's gonna be event none. This first one, okay, so this is where you start applying the idea of a base component. Because now what we could do is we could take all of these other events, and we can hide them. And then we duplicate that again. So now this is a 30-minute event. And so now we can turn off the 50-minute, turn on the 30-minute. Oop, wrong one. So we turn on the 30-minute, turn off the 15-minute. And we'll do this 2 more times. We'll do this one for 1 hour. And then, oh shoot, doing it on the wrong one again. Okay, so we're gonna turn that one on, turn that one off, and then we'll do it just 1 more time, and then this will be our 2-hour event. Okay. Now, this is why you do something like this. Now, if I wanted to do a background on these events, say I wanted to do a dark mode or something like that, or if I wanted to show like, I don't know, let's do something crazy. Let's decide we want, for the hour blocks, we want the background to be red. So rather than this white background, say we wanted to do something red. Wait, what did I pick? Did I pick the wrong thing? Uh-oh. Oh, I missed a critical part. My bad. When you do that, you have to frame that base component. Ugh. All right. Well, anyway, shoot. All right, so the one thing that I missed that it's super critical is that you have to frame these, and then you have to drag this subcomponent into that. As soon as I dragged it into here, it automatically detached it and made it part of this hour block component rather than a subcomponent of the base. So we're gonna have to do that again. So let's just do that rapid fire. Let's see how quickly we can do that. So we're gonna drag this out. We're going to frame this. We're going to call it hour block, and now we're going to drag it into here. Or actually what we're going to do is oh shoot, I did that wrong again. All right, here we go. All right, default block. So let's create a new variant. We're going to turn off all of our shadows, stuff that we've created. It's just a blank frame. It's default. And now within it, we want to take that base one and we want to paste it inside. All right. So this is what we want now. So you can see within the variant, I have the base hour block with inside it. So now anything that I do the base hour block applies to all of the variants as well. All right. So let's duplicate that 4 times. Duplicate. Okay, so this first one, I'm just gonna rapid fire through this. We're gonna delete this. I'm gonna go type hour. This is going to be event none. So we're going to just turn off each of these things, and then this will be event 15 minutes. So then we're going to spin that open. All right, then this will be 30 minutes. And then this final one, oh, There's actually 2 more we need. This is going to be our 1 hour. All right, now you finally get to see what I meant to do in the beginning. If I wanted to make any kind of change now, it will save me time by applying it to all of those things that use that basic component. So it's a super useful tool when you do it right. Obviously, I have some things that I need to clean up here. It's all right. That's just something I could do off stream. And I think that's going to wrap it up for today. So, thank you for joining me. Yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful. Feel free to join me next time as I work on this app and hang out, chat about design a little bit. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Hope you have a good weekend.